particularly in North and Central Florida, we see a lot of bumper stickers on cars that say WWJD. What would Jesus do? And it reminds me of the story when Jesus was hanging on the cross and the criminal asked him to be saved. Jesus did not tell him he had to wait 5 or 7 years. Jesus said, this day ye shall enter into paradise. And we call upon all congregations of different faith to stand on that faith principle of forgiveness, restoration, and redemption. That once an individual has served their time, that they be granted the right to vote immediately. Immediately. Attorney General Pam Bondi has always hidden behind the excuse that it is a public safety issue. And she uses this excuse in spite of the fact that the Parole Commission's own study has shown that when you restore a person's rights, you reduce the recidivism rate greatly, therefore saving the taxpayers of Florida a ton of money. Their study showed that they saved the taxpayers over $545 million annually. That's money that each and every one of us pay. And they ignore the fact that we have over 1.54 million people living amongst us, our next door neighbors, our brothers, our fathers, and even our clergy. And so at this time, I want to call Reverend Greg James to the podium.
Today, after being sentenced in 1995 to life plus 40 years, after serving 13 years in federal prison, I come to this platform in the spirit and in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, who said, high blood pressure of words, but there's amnesia in deeds. So when we look at Florida, the diagnosis for our illness that plague Florida is that Florida talks a good game. But when we look at our state, it appears that it's being led by folk that are insane. I come today on the behalf of 1.5 million to say that we must blame this condition of disenfranchisement on Governor Scott and Attorney General Pam Bondi and the rest of that gang. So we say today that we want to live free. We don't want taxation without representation. We want to live free. We don't want to be treated as second-class citizens after paying our time in prison as convicted felons and then return to society and still remain convicted felons. We want to live free. Time behind bars should not bar us as citizens to the right to vote, because voting is not a privilege, it's a right. And we want to live free. We want our ballot. Give us our ballot. Or change your sign that said welcome to Florida, and change that sign to say welcome to Florida, where 1.5 million citizens are banned from voting. We want to live free. We can quickly enjoy the right of the 1965 Voting Act. We can quickly enjoy the 4th and the 15th Amendments. We want our ballots. We want to live free. Give us our ballot so we can enjoy the opportunity to enroll in some of the access that is being denied. We want to live free. Give us our ballot, because our cry today is the epistle of the word that says, whom the Son set free is free indeed. Give us our ballot. We can sit in prison cells and sit on prison bunks and be counted in a census. But when it comes to society, we cannot be counted in the voting booth. Give us our ballots. We want to live free. Give us our ballots, because release granted and access denied can no longer be the norm in Florida. Give us our ballots. We want to live free. Today marks the first hearing of the Clemency Board. It's in the new Capitol. But we're standing today at a historical site, the old Capitol. And as we stand on the old Capitol, we declare that history must change in the new Capitol because we want to live free. We want to live free. We call people like myself and so many others who you heard come to this mic as returning citizens. But when we look at it, even though we are declaring returning citizens, we're still seen in the eyes of this government, this governor and his staff as returning convicts. But we want to live free. So today we gird up our loins with truth. We put on the helmet of salvation. We take the shield of faith because we understand that if we're going to live free as returning citizens, we cannot no longer come home and be declared as illegal immigrants. Give us our balance. The state can no longer deny us access. So we say to Governor Scott, we say to Pam Bundy, Adam Putman, and Jeff Atwater, we want to live free. And we call on the state of Florida to record this day, appeal and repeal the mechanisms of disenfranchisement that are imposed on the 1.5 million citizens. And I call on heaven as my witness against her and the state of Florida that we're going to stand shoulder to shoulder and we're going to fight the good fight of faith because we want to live free. I come today on the behalf of 1.5 million to say that we must blame this condition of disenfranchisement on Governor Scott and Attorney General Pam Bondi and the rest of that gang. So we say today that we want to live free. We don't want taxation without representation. We want to live free. We don't want to be treated as second-class citizens after paying our time in prison as convicted felons and then return to society and still remain convicted felons. We want to live, and we're going to fight the good fight of faith because we want to live free.